Hello, and welcome to Reflections for Thanksgiving Sunday. Last week, Lucy, my wife and fellow priest, did not go to her church to lead worship. She'd been feeling unwell, tired, and a bit like she had a dose of the flu. And she had a cracked tooth. But instead of feeling sorry about all this, we both knew that there were enough overlaps with COVID-19 symptoms for us to worry. On Saturday, we went for her to get a test. The results, they said, would be in a day or two. She was instructed to self-isolate, but they said, I need not. You may have noticed, those in St Andrews on Sunday, that I was remaining very distant and hand sanitizing frequently. COVID is invisible, but becomes more obvious as it progresses, sends you to hospital, and maybe to your grave. Leprosy is invisible at the beginning, but becomes more obvious as it progresses with visible sores and loss of hands, feet, or limbs. COVID is about self-isolation. Leprosy is about public exclusion, imposed isolation. Leprosy is the end of family life, friendship circles, having an income, an identity, dignity in society. On Sunday evening, Lucy got an email saying she was COVID-free. We were hugely relieved, if not entirely surprised. The path of our planned lives can continue, having been put on stop. It was a celebration and a thanksgiving. The 10 lepers Jesus heals are similarly ecstatic. I can imagine some jumping and high-fiving. And then, like the most immediate thing that we did, they get in touch with family. We have phones and email. They had legs to get to the priest and then home. Home. What does that mean after so long a banishment? Perhaps family members would come and stand at a great distance and talk to them and leave food parcels, or perhaps not. What did they say when they got home? I'm healed. Look, I have a letter of proof from the priest. Then the family slowly lets the truth sink in, and cautious happiness turned to deep joy and celebration. Distant friends hear, and a party begins to assemble. We took a little while to sit with the relief and quietly thanked God. We told our children first, then people in Lucy's church family, and there was a clutch of happy emails arriving. And then the deep relief of suppressed fear washed over us. We could plan again, return to normal again, get on with a busy life, with the added transitions that are coming to us to be engaged in. But for one person, all that he had to put on hold, he put on hold. He stopped. One man turned away from family, home, and future dignity and inclusion. He retraced his steps and found Jesus, and he said, "Thank you." And maybe a lot more was said that didn't get recorded. That thanksgiving sealed his healing and released him from years of worry and caution and social distancing forever. He saw, understood and grasped what he had been given, and then he said, "Thank you," to the one who had made it possible. Lucy and I did offer God hearty thanks, but I suspect not as hearty as the leper, or as we should have. Both of us dying of COVID would have been, well, not good. Our children's grief, the loss of our retirement years, now so close, the prospect of grandchildren, the freedom of 65. Most of us are so far detached from the old agricultural cycle that we have no real hands-on idea of harvest Thanksgiving anymore. We celebrate Thanksgiving today. Our food doesn't have to be waited for. We don't have to worry about storms, good weather for harvest. We don't have to worry about hiring enough labourers with scythes and sickles. Food comes from the grocery store. That's our truth. But the bigger truth in this day is the invitation to pause, to consider our lives and the many threads by which they hang, and how fragile this all is. And that perhaps is the real gift of COVID to many of us. COVID makes us deeply aware of the shortness and uncertainty of human life. And we ask God to let His Holy Spirit lead us in holiness and righteousness all our days, as the Book of Common Prayer puts it. So I end by inviting you to sit quietly and review what could be taken from you in a heartbeat. The health and the strength you have, the sharpness of mind, the freedom of movement, the access to internet, the money in your account. Follow your own list, and before carrying on your life, as the 9 did, as soon as possible, pause, and on this Thanksgiving Sunday, give thanks.